What's up, Amazon sellers? If you have been following my journey, I have challenged myself to do £1 million in the UK marketplace over 18 months. And you know what? I have smashed it, I've done it, and we did it in only 12 months. Now, if you want to know how I did it and achieved it in less time, only 1 year, then I'm going to break it down into the following steps that I did to achieve this goal. So stay tuned and hopefully I can share something with you that's going to help you level up your game as well. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson and I've been selling on Amazon now for 4 years doing online arbitrage. Now, quite simply, if you don't know what that is, I'm buying from online retail stores online and reselling those products on Amazon, should say, for a profit. In the UK, like I just said, I've done over 7 figures. That's £1 million in revenue in the last 12 months. And we've also just started in the USA as well. Now, what I will say is I was hoping to expand again into another marketplace in the future. And what I do is I share my journey and everything that I'm learning on this YouTube channel with you guys. Now, if you want to see more and keep updated by everything that I'm learning, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. It's going to help you understand when I'm releasing new videos to help you level up your game as well. Enough about me. What are we going to go through today? Well, first things first, I'm going to go through number 1, an introduction to what was the challenge and the way it works. Now, number 2, I'm actually going to break it down step by step, how I achieved the 1 million in 1 year. And then finally, number 3, I'm going to share some top tips with you about that journey. And hey, if I was going to do it again, what would I do differently to help you out as well? So let's get into it now. Okay, so first of all, chapter number 1, let's give you a little bit of an introduction and let's give you a bit of a backstory. So, as I said before, I've been selling on Amazon now for 4 years. And should we say, this all started a bit differently because of, should we say, the typical Amazon business. Why? Because, should we say, I started with the wholesale business model, which is buying, should we say, products from wholesalers and reselling on Amazon. Now, unfortunately, it didn't really work out for me. I was just getting too smaller margins. It wasn't working, but I did learn a lot from that experience, and that led me on to doing arbitrage, and in particular, buying Lego from what was then Tesco Direct, reselling on Amazon. God bless you, Tesco Direct. They were amazing. Now, what I said is I've been doing that for quite some time, i.e. running that business model, buying from retail stores, reselling online. And it was probably about 1.5 years ago when I was in Vietnam and I had a team running, and we're probably doing about 35,000 a month, and it was good. But I did kind of ask the question, what are we trying to achieve? Why are we here? And that is when I decided to set the goal of myself and my team aiming for the £1 million challenge, aiming to be a 7-figure Amazon seller. I know, hashtag scary, and we're only doing 35,000 at the time. Now, you might be asking, why should we say I made this video? Well, to put it out there, after the months of, say, sweat, tears, and stress, and hard work, by my team and everyone involved in this, we have been able to hit that £1 million mark. I know, amazing. Now, that is our 7 figures in sales in not lifetime, but in actually only 12 months in the UK Amazon business. And what I want to do today is just take the opportunity to share from that journey, what we did, what I learned, and also to share back to you if you are maybe looking to replicate what we've done in your business as well, because I think anyone can do it. There's nothing special about me. Quick question for you guys. Probably about 15 months ago, maybe 18 months ago, I was in Vietnam. I set myself a goal to do £1 million over an 18-month period. It's a big, big, big goal, but it's been game changing. And the question I want to ask you is, what is your goal in your business? Why are you doing this? Why are you going through the stress, the challenges, the sleepless nights, all these problems and taking the risk? Let me know what your goal is in the comments down below. I really want to know. Drop your goal for your Amazon business, whether it be this year, this month, or even the overall goal in the comments down below. Let's see what everyone is aiming for. Okay, so that leads me nicely on to chapter number 2, how I actually achieved the £1 million in 1 year. And that's, it's a big, big number. Now, first things first, before I jump in, what I'll do is I'll show you an overlay around here of my actual, the lines, the Amazon seller app, and for the last 12 months. And you'll see that we've absolutely smashed 1 million. I think it's about 1.6 we're on now. So definitely achieved the 7 figures in 12 months. And Obviously, it's been some time since achieving that 7 figures, and we're way on our way to hitting potentially 2 million by the end of this year. So certainly learned a lot. Now, the one thing which I'll say is before we kind of get into the nitty gritty is we set ourselves a target to help us focus and to achieve a goal. Now, it was this setting of the target that was super important. As they say, you cannot score if you don't know where the goal is. You've got to have a target, a goal to aim for, and then obviously you can work towards that. And it's a journey working towards that goal that you can measure, and you can measure when you need to improve on something, or perhaps maybe when something's failing. So my top tip for you, and I'll say this to anyone in any part of your life, whether it be Amazon or anything, is setting a goal, setting a target is probably one of the most important parts in about achieving success and actually working towards that. So if you haven't got a goal, get one set, and hey, drop it in the comments down below. So what I will say is, now that we set our goal, which is in our plan of doing £1 million in the UK marketplace over 18 months, we started doing this in the month of June 2020. Now, the question you might be asking is, how did we actually build the challenge? How did we make the challenge? How did we even plan out to achieve the goal of £1 million? Because 7 figures is not an easy goal to do. So how did we actually do that? Well, the original goal was to do £1 million in 18 months, but like we said, we also thought about, could we stretch ourselves and potentially do it in 1 year? So hypothetically speaking, what we did is we divided that £1 million into 18 months, and then also we did a stretch target of putting it into just a 12-month period. So what we did is, over the 12-month period, we arrived at a revenue figure of $83,333 a month. So let's call it roughly 100,000 a month in a 12-month period, if you can have some good months and some bad months. Now, the one thing which I'll say is that we can all have a plan, but reality comes sometimes and actually kind of hits us in the face. But what we found is that when we got stuck into the plan, trying to do it in 18 months, we were actually outperforming the 18 months. And when we even came into the 12 months and we're looking at 100,000, at the end of the 12 months, we were absolutely smashing 100,000. And hence why now, even in the last 12 months, we're way over 1 million. We're at 1.6 million for the last 12 months. So results, you can definitely achieve it by aiming for having a good goal and working super hard and super crazy towards that goal. And that is the power of setting yourself an amazing goal that's going to help you drive your business forward. Now, what I can do is go on and on and on and on about this, but what I'll do is I'll drop a link to a video that I created before called the £1 million Challenge, which I recorded at the very beginning. So I literally detailed my whole thought process, how I break it down, even like team structure, what we were doing, and I even created a beautiful Excel spreadsheet, which I'll use today, which you can download as well. I'll drop a link up above called my £1 million Challenge. Check that out. That's the kind of starting one. And if you are looking to get started, that's going to be game changing for you. So check out that video. So what I will say is, now that we've done goal setting, we've done a target, we set £1 million over the next 18 months. The next thing to do is to break down that target into the various problems or the various factors. And it's the component parts to help you achieve that bigger goal. So first of all, we did it earlier, really simply. The first thing first is to generate the revenue. We understand we need to be spending money on stock. So what we had to do then is create what's in spend metrics or spend goals. Now, the question of doing this is, what we did is we divided our spend, we got our revenue targets, and then we broke it down into how much do we need to spend to generate that revenue. So we could then aim to hit the spend targets every single month. And if we did that, we'd then generate the revenue, which over the course of 18 months would generate the overall goal. Fantastic. So what I'll do now is, I could sit here for hours and talk about it, but it'd be quite easier just to look at a screen share and actually to see that revenue targets and to see what happened as well. So let's jump on the computer now and go through what I planned out to happen. Okay, so here we are into the spreadsheet, which is part of that £1 million journey. And remember, watch that video that I shared earlier, which is about how I did it. So today I'll go through what we actually planned out and then how it kind of changed. And then obviously I'll go back through and do the actual, so you can kind of see the revenue as well. Now, the one thing which I'll say here is, if I just break it down, we've got the months along the top. So you can see there, June is when we started, going through all the way up until I think like October today, and kind of scroll across. we've got October. Then the other thing we've got is we've got the actuals, which I've hidden for the moment because I'll share them with you later. Then we've got what's known as our revenue target initially, and then we've got a new budget because as we went through, we updated it. So I'll talk through that as well. Also, as part of that £1 million journey, we did the gross profit target. So that's like profits after prep fees, cost of goods, and FBA fees, but not including like my VA costs and like software tools. So that goes into like other down here. Then we've got payroll, which is like the VA fees, and then we've got other, and got my cost, Tom, and then cash back as a negative because we actually get cash back, which is cash, which is an income, but we put it on the cost line, so as a negative. And then we here have net profits. So you can kind of look at the net profits that we were forecasting. And again, all these figures here are forecasted. They're not the actual figures for like profits, etc. Go through the Q1, Q2, Q3 updates. That will help you understand real profits. And then also as well, what we did down here is did stock purchase. Now, the thing which I'll say here is, and again, look at the £1 million journey, is we used a metric. So we looked at basically like what our cost of goods were at the moment. And so if we spent like, when we look at our actual sales, so say for example, we made £10,000 in revenue, how much did we spend? And we probably worked out it's about £5,600 worth of cost of goods to generate 10,000 in revenue. So if we understood that, then if we're going to aim for example, like that much revenue, we then knew how much we had to spend on stock in the prior month to generate that revenue next month. And that allowed us to do forecasting. So what did we do? Well, basically, you know, we took 1 million, we broke it down into 18 months. We did it here on the initial revenue stage, this section here, and we just went through and broke it down. And then I broke down my costs. I kept my GP the same. I also then worked out the percentage and then put in my payroll costs. And you can see we've got increases around like having extra VAs, we've hired them. Other costs, should we say like software, accountancy fees go up when revenue go up. Also as well, I keep my costs pretty low. I don't really take too much out. At the time I was living in Vietnam, which is super cheap. Go to Thailand if you want, really good. And then the cashback, we didn't really forecast that to increase even though the spend was going up, because what we understand is it doesn't go up with spend, just due to the way it works. I won't go into details. Again, watch the videos. I also put in here net profits. So that's what we're looking at generating. And you might think, oh my God, these are really, really low net profits. Well, you look like your December, you're making 10 grand on 100,000, fantastic. And some months like March or even February, we're making very little. Why? Well, I've got quite a high cost base. And also as well, I wasn't expecting to make much money. So that was the reason why we really reduced it down. I was never ever looking at this in one individual month. I was looking at this over the course of the whole year. And if you add up the whole kind of like 18-month period, I'd be looking to make, I think, if I just quote it all out, net profits over the course of the year. And this is forecasted, by the way. You know, we're here over 100,000 in net profits. You know, we've obviously done better revenue, and I'll let you think or guess how much profit we've made, but certainly we've done quite well out of it. So looking at 1 month in isolation, I just wouldn't ever do. You're looking at the bigger picture, should we say. Now, also the other one we did again talked about the stock purchase, and I think that's really important. I talk about it in all my videos is if there's one metric I ever look at tracking, that is spend. Spend is the biggest metric we talk about all the time. Why? Spend at a certain percentage ROI generates a certain revenue, which generates a certain amount of profit. So if you can just spend enough money, in theory, you should be able to generate enough revenue, which generates you the profit you need. So we did this, and really amazing tool, helped us plan it out, gave us targets to aim towards. You know, we can't control revenue, and that's one thing. You can never control your sales, but you can control your spend. So we knew if we hit our targets, if we didn't. Now, the one thing we did is as we went along this journey, you know, if I share with you now, we kind of go through what we found is as we went through the journey, we started smashing our revenue targets. Why? Because our spend targets were going up, we were spending more money, and we had to change it. So if I have a quick look here, what I've done up the top here, I did an 18-month figure. So we did tweak it, and this is the updated new budget, should we say, 1.3 million. But when we updated it again, we came to 1 million over a 12-month period that we were looking at. And that is from H, I think we were looking from here. So the new budget H, this figure here, all the way across, going across to the 12 months, which would be around about, I think there, December. So looking from January to December, saying, my goal was actually, can we achieve in a 12-month period, put it this way, this January here, 12 months, probably about £1 million. Now, that's just a stretch goal saying, could we do it? And because I thought, my God, if we could do it in 18, could we try doing it for 12? And if we do it maybe 15, that's much better. But hey, you are not here to just solely learn what we could do. You want to here to actually see the revenue figures as well. So let's go through the revenue figure and I can talk you through the revised plan as well and what actually happened. So let's break down last year, June through to December, and I'll just highlight that now. So I've just shown the figures here and you can see pretty much the actual in June, we did 35,000 versus a target of 35. Well, we knew what we were going to do, and that's what I said we were. July, we grew a little bit, a bit under the new budget, but still higher than our initial revenue target. August was under, actually we came below. And again, September was close, but still under, so not performing so well. October, we absolutely smashed it. I think we got everything into gear. Again, we really started driving the spend and we understood the metrics. And the big part between like June and August was about hiring people, getting VAs. Scaling has problems. It's not like going from £1 to £10. You've got to go from like 100,000 to 200,000. That's teams, operations, logistics. It took time. So October, we saw absolutely smashed it, really drove. And then again in November, we smashed it again versus our initial target, and hence we did the new budgeted target. December, ironically, was actually lower than November. So I always say to my team, be careful. December isn't going to be like the big boom. It's a bit of a weird month. We thought we'd do 100,000 and we didn't. We only did 65, so it actually underperformed. So basically, over the course of the first kind of like few months, we did 370,000. We thought we were going to do initially 350,000, but when we did our rebudget, we thought we'd do 410. So we kind of came between. Not fantastic, but the big thing which I take away is that we did actually start getting some very big numbers in there, even in October when we weren't really expecting it. So we knew that we could do some more. That leads me nicely on to kind of the next month. So we'll kind of break it down up until about May. So we just highlight these. So in May, what we did here, or should we say in January coming in, we originally set a very high target, way too high, 110. That's not going to happen. So we reevaluated and say came down to 50, and we actually did 59. We thought we'd do 51 originally, and we thought actually February's going to drop down. I remember it from the previous year. It was COVID. It was like the worst time in the world, but actually we smashed it. 73,000, did really well. Then we thought March, 73,000 is good. Could we do more? And we thought, the budget there, we kind of increased it a bit. We had put another 20,000 on it nearly, which is absolutely incredible. So we nearly hit just shy of 100,000 in March. April dropped that down. There was some problems there. And I think, again, it's about spend, what you're doing, operations. And then May, we went crazy. We did 161,000, nearly 3x'd that revenue in April. Absolutely next level. And when we saw that, we're like, this is insane. And my team were doing a really good job. We said, wow, actually you can do 161,000 in a month. That's what we wanted to do. That's 2 months worth of our target in 1 month. So that leads me nice onto the back half. And what did we perform on that? Well, right here, what you can see is I've unlocked it now. May, remember we did 161,000. Now in June, dropped down a little bit. We did 132, but still big 6-figure numbers. I'm really happy with them. And, we thought we were doing 70,000. We're doing nearly double that. It's crazy. And then July, and interesting enough, May and June, they were like, wow, these are incredible, but we've managed to sustain 6-figure monthly sales. And then, but what we realized, and we had a loan as well, we also hired more team members, we just grew the business. And as a result, we went from doing a forecast of 72,000, which we thought was quite a big ask, to absolutely smashing it, 208,000. Absolutely incredible. And now, for the last couple of months, we have been continually doing that, 222, 224, or 226, 224, really hitting those over 200,000 a month, which is next level in actual revenue. We thought we'd be doing like 78. We're doing nearly like 3 times what we thought we'd be doing, or more than 3 times. And the next step for us and how we did that was very much around team, driving the team, and also having the available cash to drive the spend, which drives the revenue. Now, we are going through that again in the coming next couple of months, which is going to be super, super interesting. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, this leads me nicely onto the next problem, which you're probably going to be wondering is to go from, should we say, like 35,000 up to 230,000 pretty much in 1 year is incredible, absolutely incredible. But the problem is how do you find deals? And this is one of the biggest problems we had. Now, to solve this issue, we did some testing with different sourcing methodologies and what's working for the team, and tweaked our incentive schemes. And we did a lot of work around teamwork and trying to really encourage them, because what we understood was that each of our VAs have a very different skill set, and their ability to work with different sourcing methods and different teamwork dynamics actually really compounded and allowed us to find more deals per team member. Now, that being said, should we say with the VAs, let's say, for example, and I'll give you an example here. For VA1, let's say, for example, VA1 sources in or specializes in reverse sourcing. So they're going to focus on that, which can make, should we say, their sourcing a lot more efficient. Now, it might be the case that we have VA2 who's much better at finding, should we say, replenishables. We've just seen it in the way they're working, so we focus them on that. That's not to say that we focus them on that, we encourage them, but we still give them flexibility. Now, quite simply, what we were doing also as well, in addition to that, we were identifying suppliers of good selling products and fast selling items, and we were contacting those suppliers to try and buy on bulk or even try and negotiate better terms with them. So certainly something that did us really well there. Now, the good thing about that was we really focused on replenishments. And if I give you an idea, we run at what's known as an internal percentage of replenishables. About 85% of all our ASINs we have bought more than 2 times over the course of a year. Could be in February, it could be again in October, but 85% of the stock we'll always be buying. So very, very interesting stat there if you are thinking about that. Now, the one thing which I will say is, like, not all product prices we're buying are consistent. So we've encountered items whereby, should we say, the buy price has increased, and what we've had to do is, use that reverse sourcing method again to find different suppliers and even negotiate different contracts or different discounts, but also, compound that with things like voucher codes just to get better pricing. So that's going to help. That has helped us replenish those items. Now, if you want to learn more about, should we say, replenishments and the way they're working, what I will do is I'll drop a link to a video that I created with, should we say, the master of replenishments, Mr. Luke Dugan, Mr. FBA UK. And I'll drop it up here. How, she said, £84,000 in 1 month selling nothing but FBA replenishables, and that's his 3 top tips. Trust me, I've met this guy. He did 84,000 in 1 month on his own, working like, I think it was 20 hours in the entire month. That's incredible, next level. Now, the next thing which I'll say, as we continue to plan, to say, doing the £1 million challenge, what I did do is I asked my purchasing manager what else we can do to achieve the goal and support him in the goal. And he basically said, we're running out of deals, like what we talked about, so we needed to add more team members. So we added more sourcing VAs in. And if I put it in perspective, when we first started the £1 million challenge back in May, June last year, we had 2 sourcers, 1 purchasing manager. Now, to achieve the goal, we expanded the team. And if I put it this way, right now, today, we have 1 purchasing manager, 1 sourcing assistant, 2 admin VAs, and I think 8 sourcers. So our team has grown massively over that, and we are looking to even hire that even more to keep us going into next year, because we are looking for more deals. Now, how did that journey happen? Well, quite simply, we hired some more sourcing VAs until we got to 4. And then what we did, we promoted one of those sourcing VAs up to a purchasing assistant, because we understood they couldn't buy enough of the deals. They were running out of time. My purchasing manager was working 14 hours a day, and actually we had to reduce that down. So we did that, and then we had 2 purchasing assistants, and we hired more VAs to source, and obviously as a result grew the team. Now, if you want to learn more about VAs and how they can help you grow your Amazon business, what I will do is I'll drop the link above to a video I created called How Amazon Virtual Assistants Can Grow Your Amazon Business. What is an Amazon VA? Check that out, it's going to help you. Now, the 4th thing which I'll kind of mention is, after discussing the spend metric, and I talked about that on the screen share, that's probably one of the most important metrics you can look at, and how to find deals and building the team, we now proceeded with the next problem, which is cash flow. And that is one of the biggest problems. Now, to give you a brief description of what is cash flow, basically this refer to the movement of money entering and going out and coming back in again in your business through its operations. And if I put it very, very simply, you have money in the bank, you invest that in stock, and then stock moves to Amazon, Amazon sells it, it sits in Amazon for 2 weeks, and then it comes back into your bank. It's just where that money is in that cycle and how quick you can do it. Now, managing that cash flow has been probably one of the most important things we have done. Why? Because number one, maximizing the cash flow at all times, but also as well, making sure that we have the right cash where it needs to be at the right times to pay our liabilities, but also to invest in the stock to resell it. Now, how do we do that? What we do is we check our cash flow every single week, and my admin VAs do that, and they give us a spend limit that my purchasing assistants get to spend products. Now, in addition to that, one of the best things we've done for managing my cash flow is having the right amount of money in my bank to use in the case of emergency. And this is super important because number one, we understand how much all our bills and our liabilities are, but also as well, if anything were to happen, i.e. when Amazon withheld my payments and my disbursement, and also it's going to help protect us for a period of time. Now, the good thing about that is just having a safety buffer to manage your Amazon business is super important. I recommend that to anyone about managing your cash flow, have a safety buffer. Now, if you want to learn more about cash flow, and I say this to everyone, it's probably the number one key driver before VAs and everything. You've got to learn how to manage your money correctly. What I will do is I'll drop a link up above to how to manage cash flow for your Amazon business. I created that video, trust me, I think you're going to love it. It's game changing. Now, the fifth thing I'll mention is since Amazon understands how e-commerce sellers achieve, their sales and drive their revenue, what also happens is, and what I do love, Amazon offers us loans. So they're called Amazon loans. Now, you might be asking what a loan is. Well, quite simply, Amazon lends you money to help you grow your business. Now, for us as Amazon sellers, this program really helped us buy more stock that we could resell and obviously drive the revenue and more profits and continue the loop. Now, what I did was I took advantage of that opportunity and I was looking for ways to grow my business. So that is, expanding through VAs, expanding through operations increases, and also what we're purchasing. Now, to share with you my experience of our first Amazon loan, and that was £121,000, and we got that over a 12-month period. This loan just massively changed the game for us and allowed us to buy more stock, scale up and drive more, and hence that was a big part of our revenue increase. I think it was about a month or two later, we then had the opportunity to increase the loan to £130,000, and again, we managed to increase the amount we're purchasing as well. Now, the one thing which I will say is that as we've increased our revenue, what we have seen is that actually ROI's margins have decreased, but what we have also done is increase the velocity of our sales. So while we are making less profit per unit, we're actually now selling more units. So overall, we're probably making similar, if not more money, but the Amazon loan has been a big game changer for that, because overall, I'd probably say the Amazon UK market ROI margin has decreased. But we're still buying a lot of stock, shipping it in, and it has made a real game changer because not only revenue's gone up, but profit as well, because the ROI hasn't decreased too much. Now, the sixth and the final thing, which I will share with you, and it's finally it's helped us achieve the £1 million mark massively, is by measuring our results weekly and acting on them. Now, for us, it's super important to measure many, many metrics within that kind of business and to see what's going on and getting those results. And what that has done, well, that has led us to change our business model, adapt the way we're managing our teams, giving us confidence in taking on things like Amazon loans, and that has allowed us to drive, more spend in our money and also look at our business strategy. And one thing we did, which is quite big recently, and I talked about it in my videos, is moving from a 30% ROI down to a 20% ROI. And that is the consideration of driving velocity of sales rather than holding stock for a higher ROI because of the restock limits. And as a result, we're now making probably much more revenue. Profits are still good, but per item it's a bit less, and I talked about that earlier. Right, okay, so I'm talking about my journey to 1 million and actually how we achieved 1 million, how actually we smashed it. And now the one thing, hopefully I shared with you now, is I talked about it earlier. We started off with 1 purchasing manager, 2 sourcing VAs. And now we're 2 purchasing and about 8 sourcing VAs. Changed the game massively, and I hate to say this, I pretty much do this business on about 1.5 hours a week, sometimes up to about 4, but not really that much. Why? Because I've got an amazing team, they do a great job. And And I stress that I've got an amazing team. I live in Mexico, they live in the Philippines, we're on the completely different time zones. But the team do the majority of the work, and I'm so grateful for them. And the thing I'll say is, if you are looking to maybe replicate this journey, you cannot do this on your own. You cannot make £1 million on your own. It's just not possible. And you're only one person. You do need a team. And if you're looking to build a team, the very first thing I always recommend to anyone is you need to get someone who drives revenue. And what do I mean by that? You need to get a sourcing VA. Now, the reason is they find deals to resell on Amazon to make profits, and you can wake up every single day with deals, leads in your inbox ready to buy from your own team members. Not only that, you can also direct them to do replenishables and lots of other things. They are an amazing asset in your business, and you make or break a business with a team. Now, if you are looking at getting a sourcing VA, look no further than the FastTrackFBA VA Academy. This is a service that I've run, that I've created over the last 18 months, whereby we find, hire and train manual sourcing VAs to do online arbitrage for your business. Do it UK, Canada, USA. We do all the marketplaces. We've trained over 300 VAs for over 170 clients in the last 18 months. And I think those numbers speak for themselves. The majority of clients come back from more than one PA, and it does make a big difference to their business. They are seeing the results. So if you are interested, have a look at the link down below, FastTrackFBA VA Academy. Trust me, it's going to change the game. Okay, so this leads me nicely on to chapter number 3, and that is some top tips to share with you, maybe if you're looking to do this. Okay, so first things first, number 1 is create a plan. Now, what I will say is don't reinvent the wheel, copy what I did. My God, I share that £1 million journey. I created the Excel spreadsheet, download it, copy it, use it, learn from the experience of others. I've already done it. I've shown that it's possible. You too can do it. Just copy what I've done. Honestly, do not reinvent the wheel. If you want to make £1 million in revenue, check out that journey and just do what I've done. And again, I'll say it again, do not reinvent the wheel. Someone else has already done it, copy them, copy me, fantastic. Now, the second thing which I will say is start working on your business and not in your business. Now, why do I say that? And you've probably heard it a million times. Well, quite simply is the fact that you are the biggest problem in your business. I am the biggest problem in my business, even now in what we've achieved. And the reason why I say that is because I cannot do everything. And if I try and do everything, it's only going to fail. By having a team, things can happen without me. And you know what? One VA, yes, one VA will never be as good as me. But 10 VAs, my God, they're going to do way more work than I ever could. So this is never about just me and what I can do. It's about building a team which can work without me. If I'm sick, they're still working, the business still grows. So get out of your business, start working on your business, start driving it forward operationally, and not inside it and actually doing the day-to-day operations. So you can actually drive it forward by strategic thinking. Now, by doing this, you can actually save yourself a lot of time, and also you can help your business grow. So start working on your business, not in it. Now, the third top tip I'll share with you is measure the results. Now, the reason why I say this is we measure every single week various metrics across our business. And I've alluded to some of them here. Revenue, percentage spend on replenishables, for example. It might be spend targets you're looking at, or spend versus target. And by looking at every single week, you can see what's happening and you can ask questions. Hey, why has this happened? Why is that doing really well? Why is this happening? Why is it not? And you can learn. And it's that learning on a weekly basis, which is going to improve your business, your operations, and allow you to scale quicker. So measure the business every single week. I can't stress that enough. Now, the top tip for you, number 4, is build a team. Now, I cannot stress this enough. My God, I live in Mexico City right now. My team are in the Philippines. I've got like across 3 companies, 56 VAs. And the real point is that I understand I cannot do this on my own. I need people to help me. And it's not only about building a team, and it's about working with them to drive, to make the business more efficient, to drive efficiency and to drive improvements. So really working with that team, building managers, a purchasing manager, purchasing assistant, has not only allowed me to grow my business to new levels, but also as well, I'm working less hours now than I used to, which is like crazy, but it is possible. You can do it. So top tip number 4, build a team. Now, what I will say is after understanding how to achieve £1 million in a year, and hopefully this video has been super helpful, what you might want to consider watching is a video or should say a playlist I created called about Amazon arbitrage for beginners. And if you are looking to, should we say, do that £1 million journey, getting started on Amazon is one of the hardest parts. So do check out the playlist I'll drop around here called Amazon Arbitrage for Beginners. That's really going to help you out with knowing what you need to know. And in addition to that, it's just going to help you scale up. But what I will say is hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button down below. But for me, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.